Everybody, Tim W. Rago here, and welcome to another episode of Paleo Files Reviews, where we've been stomping through your screen since March. Once again, joined by, we have one dude who is not here, Dude Meister. He is off at a festival. Wish you were here, my friend, on this review with us here. And but I am, though, joined by fellow Creature Obsessed.
How's it going, guys? Jurassic World Monsterverse here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Paleo Files Reviews for yet another review for Jurassic June. And like Tim said, Dude Meister unfortunately isn't here because he's spending time at Celebration, which I'm hoping he'll have the time of his life where he's at and have a great time. Kind of missing him already.
But same here.
But yeah, so it's just going to be us two for only a couple of episodes. He'll be back in no time. And Tim, you want to explain what movie it is? Well, a short movie, I should say, because it's only 19 minutes. So, you want to explain the rest, or do you want me to carry on?
I got this. So, okay, so so far in Jurassic June, you've seen us cover that was stupid. You've seen us cover the first two Dinosaur films and Jurassic Park 2. Jurassic Park 1, duh. That was stupid. I don't know what is wrong with my brain right now. Sorry, folks. You've seen us cover Jurassic Park 1 in the first two Dinosaur films. So until Dude Meister gets back, Jurassic World Monsterverse and I, we're picking some random dinosaur movies to do reviews of here. And the first one we're doing is one that's very little known. I don't see too many people talk about this one, but it is well known among the dinosaur film community, called The Ghost of Slumber Mountain, that came out in the year 1919. Now, this movie... 18 or 19?
1918.
1918. So, the thing with this movie is, it's one of, I think it's Willis O'Brien's, like, his first major, like, actual, his first actual movie that he worked on, that he did the stop motion for, because he did a couple of, like, shorts, but they weren't, like, major movies, and I think this, if I'm not mistaken, this one is, like, his first actual movie, and this movie is only, like, 19 minutes long, and apparently it was longer, apparently the movie was longer, but what we've watched is the surviving amount of bits of surviving footage of this movie. And the thing with this movie is, I mean, it's a silent film, and it's kind of an oddball movie. It's kind of an oddball movie, really. Like, the movie for those who don't know, the movie starts with, like, these two kids playing, and this dude sitting on the porch, which I think was the director of this movie, actually. And the kids come up and they ask him to tell them a story, and they call him Unk, U-N-K. Like, what the hell? Man, that time period is just weird. How it's weirder than nowadays, where people just give the weirdest fucking names. Unk. I don't know. When I saw that, this is the second time that James and I have watched this movie, and Unk. I can't get that out of my head now. Forget the man from Uncle. We got the man from Unk. Yes, I had to reference that. Yes, I had to reference that movie. But then the dude starts talking about the story of Slumber Mountain, and I just love how it said, like, the Valley of Dreams and the River of Peace. I'm thinking, well, if this is the River of Peace, then are they in the Valley of Peace? I swear to... Yes, I had to make that reference too, because peace. Anyways, so they just talk about how they just go through this one valley, and I'm not gonna lie, what'd you think of, like, had to have been a location shot? Like, there's that huge shot from the top of the hill where they got, like, where you can tell that had to have been, like, a location bit. Like, they had to have filmed that actually somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you could tell it was a location shot, because if you paid enough attention closely to sorry, now my brain is not burning. You see, you know, where the main character is standing, and he's surrounded by all this shrubbery and foliage. You can kind of see them swaying back and forth, like the wind is moving them a little. So obviously it was a location shot somewhere.
And then it's like, oh, sorry.
Obviously,
it was what now?
I said it was obviously somewhere outdoors, just from how it looked. So,
which honestly, Jesus Christ, I think there's still a little. I think there's the Carnosaur 2 effect. I think the Carnosaur 2 effect is still on both of our brains, because to the 40-something people who've seen that video, then you guys know how absolutely weird that review was, as well as the movie. So
it's gotten up to how many views?
Like 40-something. At least like 41 or 42 views at this point.
That was fast.
Yes, exactly. No, but yeah, I think the Carnosaur 2 effect is still over in our brains right now. But anyways, a lot of the shots in this movie, you can tell they were like location shots. Like, you got the one of the valley from the top of the hill, and then you got like a canoe scene where you can tell that was outdoors, and then there's like the main characters camping, and it's just like all it really looked like was more of a hiking video. Like, the very start of this movie was just more like a hiking thing, and then all of a sudden, James and I were both laughing at this. There's this character in this movie, and everyone always, and you probably sit here and wonder, why is this movie called The Ghost of Slumber Mountain? Well, the reason why it's called that is because the two characters who are literally on a nature hike, they talk about there's this literal cabin in the woods, and the guy who lived in the... I can't say the name without cracking up. The guy's name is Mad Dick. I can't say the name without laughing, because I swear...
guys, that's how immature we are. Like,
I don't know why Mad Dick. It just sounds... I can't say the name without laughing. I mean... Bro, was the dude's name Richard? The guy's name had to have been named Richard, because Dick is short for Richard. So, Mad Dick. I swear that had to have been an inside joke with the staff who made this fucking movie. But, and this is honestly the best effect, before we talk about the actual main reason why this movie exists, the effect of...
Well, most of the dialogue in this film was rather out there, so it was a very...
It truly was. Like, this was... I think this was an experiment movie. Didn't this movie kind of feel like an experiment kind of thing, where it's like they were trying shit out? Where they were trying some stuff?
You know, like with Harryhausen's 1940 experimental film, I think it was just called Evolution.
It was, that little bit, yeah.
So yeah, that it gives us all the more reason to feel like why, and it gives us more of an explanation as to why this feels like an oddball movie, more like an experimental movie. Because even though I don't think it was, I don't think that was its intention, but it just gave off that feeling to it because of the dialogue. The dialogue just was a little off-putting.
It really, it was. It truly was. Like, and the dialogue kind of jumps. It kind of jumps all over the place. Like, it jumps from the characters talking in the story, and then you can. I mean, it's good that you can tell which dialogue boxes go where, because you got like some of them are talking about some are in the story, and then others are the dude telling the story to the kids. So it's like you can tell who's which dialogue boxes go to who. But quite literally, the one of the best effects in this movie is actually the ghost himself, the dude being transparent. How they pulled that off in that time period is insane. Like, just when you look at it, it's like this is 1918. This came out, and yet they managed to pull off a dude being transparent. Like, they actually pulled off a literal apparition in this movie. Like, they made a transparent apparition here.
That was impressive. That was damn well impressive, and especially this might just be the oldest film we've covered yet, because it's 105 years old. So
exactly. Just in March we did Kong's movie, and that was 1933, and this is this is like a little bit before that. So yeah, this is
15, a decade and a half. So.
Exactly. And then we go to the main thing of this movie are the dinosaurs themselves. And it's so crazy how not everything is a dinosaur. Like, there's not a terror, well, it looks like a terror bird, but there's the other flightless bird species called Diatrima or something like that.
Nowadays it's called Gastornis, but back then it was called Diatrima. So.
Yeah, and it's so crazy how I do like the variety. I like the fact that the movie doesn't have just dinosaurs. Like, it has other prehistoric animals. It had the Gastornis in it to give it a little more variety. But the thing is that the prehistoric creatures could have been shot a little better. Like, they showed a brontosaurus, but it was just.
Yeah.
It was too wide.
Which I suppose was to give us like some sort of perspective for the main character, because he's on a hilltop and he's looking down at this valley where all these creatures still exist. So maybe those faraway shots are meant to put us into his perspective. But yeah, I agree with you. They could have been shot much better, more like closer range, because you see you see on like images online of closer up shots of the dinosaurs, and you get a better look at the models that Willis O'Brien made and animated. But in the film, they're not as not as close up. So that's yeah, and a fun fact about the dinosaurs, is that this is probably my most favourite fact about this movie. And when I told Tim about this fact the first time we watched this, he was like, "No way!" So a very interesting fact about this was that probably one of the most famous paleontologists ever, Barnum Brown, also known as Mr. Bones, because he was the man who
discovered T-Rex.
Uncovered dinosaur species in the United States, and he was responsible for the one discovering T-Rex as well. So he was the technical advisor for this film. And another interesting fact about the dinosaurs themselves, and this doesn't really come off as a surprise, but they took inspiration from a very famous paleo artist called Charles R. Knight. So, and you can easily tell,
especially with the T-Rex. The T-Rex in this movie, you can definitely tell the design of that animal it literally looked like off a Charles Knight painting. like with it standing upright. Because why the hell wouldn't it?
Well, why wouldn't anyone take inspiration from? Why wouldn't anyone design after his designs? You see in his paintings, because they are gorgeous paintings. The way he has painted them out to be in his artwork, they are some of the best outdated dinosaur artwork I've ever seen. I really do love them.
But they're retro. It's called retro, like because of the. What's actually kind of crazy though is but you can definitely tell the models were actually really well, for the most part the models were well made. Like the Diatrima model, that model actually, from the wide shot, it actually looked pretty well detailed. Like you can see it was very feathery, to say the least. Like the thing, kind of like a pissed off chicken, sort of, kind of like an early pissed off chicken. And then the only thing is though, that bird and the Rex are like the two main models in this movie that were very well detailed. The other ones look too smooth. Like the Brontosaurus didn't really have any texturing on it, and neither did the Trikes. The Triceratops and the Brontes weren't really textured, which kind of sucks, because, like, sometime, like 6 or 7 years after this, The Lost World from 1925 came out, and the dinosaurs in that movie looked great. So it's kind of...
Oh, man, yeah.
So it's very interesting that it's very interesting here that they're smooth. Like, that the Brontosaurus and the Trikes were very, they were smooth. Like, they didn't really have that much skin texturing to them.
Texture, yeah. Well, this film, it went through a very problematic production, because Willis O'Brien and the director, sorry, not director, the producer, I should say, the producer, they were frequently bickering over the final cut of the film. This film was originally 40 plus minutes long, and at one stage, it was eventually cut down to only 12 minutes, but then it was eventually restored to 19 minutes, which was the one version we watched. So, yeah, it's...
And actually,
yeah,
did you notice O'Brien's name wasn't even mentioned because of that shit? O'Brien's name O'Brien's name was not even mentioned on the opening title screen because of that.
It wasn't a very pleasing experience, I don't think, for anyone on set of that film. But what is there to talk about? We've covered a lot of facts about this movie, and
when it comes
is there anything else?
When it comes to the movie itself, I do like the fact though that for decades, even now, like Triceratops and Tyrannosaurus Rex are always seen as, like, if you're going to have these two animals in a dinosaur movie, you gotta have them fight. And this movie does this brief little fight between these two, and if I'm not mistaken, I think this was the dinosaur movie that established that. I think this was the movie that literally put that image in everyone's heads, that Triceratops and Tyrannosaurus Rex are like, every time you do a dinosaur movie, you gotta have Triceratops fight. You gotta have this animal fight. And also, did you notice the different models of the Trikes? They're like two different characters. Like they had different horn designs. Like one of them was.
I didn't notice that. I've known about this film for years, and I've watched it plenty of times. But no, I never noticed that.
Yeah, like one Trike had the horn sticking straight out and sticking straight up, and then the other one was straight out. The other one was a little up. Like, the other horns were a little more pointed upwards, and then the other one was sticking straight out.
It's a nice little detail, damn. But the reason why, when it comes to the crew, the Paleophiles crew, usually I'm like the movie planner, so I sort out which movies we do, and I sort out the dates for which marathons will be the best time to do them. So the reason why, for Jurassic June, why I wanted to cover The Ghost of Slumber Mountain was because it's a syndicate. sorry, it's a significant piece of dinosaur film history, and it was the first ever film in dinosaur movie history to feature live-action actors alongside a stop-motion animated dinosaurs. So it has some significance to it, and the fact that it had Barnum Brown as well, that's a pretty cool.
That is Barnum Brown. I always remember there's a dinosaur movie that came out in '98 when we were 2. It's called T-Rex Back to the Cretaceous, and they had an actor play as Barnum. He played as Barnum Brown in that movie, and he was talking about. And I loved his line when the main character of that movie brought up T-Rex, and Barnum Brown said like, "Oh, I've been coming up here for years and I've never seen a T-Rex fossil." Like, dude, really? So I guess like at that moment he never discovered T-Rex yet, but it was, I don't know. It's just having, that's crazy. Barnum Brown as the consultant on that movie, on Go Summer Mountain, that is crazy. That is insane. That is crazy that they had him do it. And you mentioned Charles Knight, like, actually, that's what a lot of the dinosaur designs from after this movie and onwards, they were mainly inspired by Charles Knight. Like, because what other references do you have at the time? Like, what other references do you have at that time, during the 1900s here, to make a dinosaur movie? Like, if you wanted a design for these animals, what other source could you go to? Like, what other major source could you go to?
It's interesting how, like, because paleontology was still a fairly new field of science back then, because, like, I don't know how long, like, paleontology has been in the frame for. I think it's been around since maybe the 16th century, so 1700s, when they really, paid more attention to fossilized creatures and really put in all the research they could into, studying them. But, like, it wasn't until, like, the 1800s that dinosaurs really came to be, identified as their own group of animals. And so back then, dinosaurs were only known about for less than a century. So to have them be put on the big screen so soon, it really goes to show just how impactful dinosaurs have been ever since their discovery.
Yeah, exactly. And to have them even for this time period, they do move really good. That Brontosaurus, the movement of that thing is very smooth. Like, it has, for 1918, the Brontosaurus moves really smoothly for this time period. Like, this comes to show O'Brien knew how to do. He knew what he was doing. Like, he knew how to do a good piece of dinosaur film. Like, he honestly knew. Yeah. He knew what he was doing when he was doing it. It's no wonder he did King Kong. It's no wonder he got to do The Lost World, and then King Kong right after that.
That's the next film we're going to be doing a review next, because why wouldn't we? It's an iconic piece of film history. It's like its own little time capsule, if you know what I mean.
So is this movie. So is this movie. This movie is like its own little piece, its own little shred of film history.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we've covered enough of this one. Let's get to the scores. Now, you and I were discussing before we did this episode review. I'm really covering a lot here in this episode. I'm very talkative here, aren't I?
I guess it's because you weren't talkative in the last episode, so you're very talkative. So it's like you're very talkative here.
Big all back. But yeah, I'm gonna give this film.
This was really hard to score, folks, because it's a really weird movie. It's a piece of history, but it's a weird movie at the same time. Like, this was tough to even think of a score to give this. Like, can you even score this movie? Like, seriously, can you even give this movie a score at all?
I don't think I could, but Because it's even though it's not as well recognized as The Lost World, which came out 7 years later, or any other dinosaur movie for that matter, but it's still well known about enough to get some attention. So I'm gonna give it maybe a 7 out of 10.
I give this movie a 5.5 out of 10. Like, I give this a 5.5.
You would as a 6 out of 10, or
A what?
for the movie?
Oh, I said 5.5. Yeah, I'll probably give this a 6. I'll probably give it a 6, mainly because, you know, you have Willis O'Brien's like early bit of doing stop motion, and also the fact that this is it's a very important piece of film history when it comes to dinosaurs. So yeah, this movie definitely gets a 6 out of 10 for me.
I'd give it. You know, there are parts of this movie where I was with Tim, you know, I felt like maybe 5.5, 6 out of 10, but there are other parts where I felt it deserves a little more praise and a little higher score. So if Tim's going to give it 5.5, 6 out of 10, I'm going to give it 6.5, 7 out of 10.
Oh wow, I think, well, that reversed because isn't that kind of ironic what you said when we were watching Carnosaur? The first one, when you said that when it comes to movies, I'm the one that usually gives the higher score here.
Oh, it backfired so big. That's so good.
Yeah, exactly.
It backfired. I sort of hope this happens again.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sorry, guys. When you hear us bullshit like this, it's why the hell wouldn't we? Like, seriously, why the hell wouldn't we when it comes to talking about movies? Why the hell wouldn't you throw in some stupid jokes here and there?
Yeah.
Like what? Okay, so thank you all folks for watching this. This is honestly and I thought the Carnosaur 2 review was the shortest video we ever done. No. This one's our shortest review we ever did, because the movie's only 19 minutes long. So thank you all for watching this. Please be sure to like, share, and consider subscribing, as well as go follow Jurassic World Monsterverse 2 on his Instagram. The name is in the description below here, because I tried to do the link on the last video, and since I made a new Instagram account, I have to figure out how to sign in through it on my freaking laptop. So a little technical difficulty with that there, but also please come follow me at Megalania 2023, formerly Lizardman 2021, for those of you who are like saying, who the fuck? So yeah, the names will be in the description below, so you know who to look up. And then also, even though Dude Meister's not here, I'll put his name. Go follow him, because he's part of this. Because he's part of this as well.
Even though he's not here with us at the moment, he'll be back shortly. Please follow Dude Meister on his Instagram account and DeviantArt account, which will be down in the description link below.
Yeah.
And no, I just took the rest of Tim's ending speech.
Yeah. Anyways, this is Tim W. Rago, aka Megalania 2023.
Jurassic World Monsterverse 2. Peace out, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.